Hello, welcome to another tonal landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. And the painting I'm bringing you today is called Twilight Road. It's 12 by 16, and I painted this a couple days ago. And I'm real happy to share it with you. I'll tell you what's up with this painting and what I was trying to do, if you're interested. And I want to point out in the we have a members area on this channel, and it's $6 a month. And in the members area, you will have a good chance to see the reference image for this painting, which is pretty key because reference is a big part of what I do. In fact, I have painted this scene before, and the feel is different. This is larger and has a looser feeling than the last time, but I will say the colors are pretty similar, and that was pulled mostly from the reference. So I like to manipulate that reference as much as I can to get something interesting. Of course, there's a lot of problems and traps inherent in reference, which we've discussed quite a bit on this channel, and I discuss quite a lot in my book and stuff too. So check that out. We'll have an ad for the book coming up. Anyway, let's talk about this. Yeah, we're working on hardboard here, and I have prepped it with 2 coats of no, 3 coats actually, house paint, tinted to. I had this house paint that was kind of like a raw umber, but I poured a little bit of my burnt sienna in it, my one that I had, because the burnt sienna one's really hot. It's quite bright and saturated. So yeah, that gave me this color, and now my underpainting color is straight up. No, it's not straight up. Sorry, I'm fibbing. It's burnt umber, but I did put a little bit of rose madder in it. Also, members area, yeah, you'll get a color mixing session, which has all the constituent colors. Now, what I'm doing in the video there is especially on the bigger paintings, I like to get in there and do some underpainting with my paper towel. In this case, I'm just kind of throwing some sky stuff in. A lot of times I might leave the sky just open and just deal all that with the color, but it's a thing. And what I find is useful too about the paper towel thing is you'll see me going into areas where I have painted with the brush, and I'll bring in the paper towel with a little bit of oil on it just to kind of move things a little bit, and so everything's not 100% brush strokes, Anyway, I think that's a valuable. Now, obviously, I was gonna say I don't use a paper towel in the later parts of the process, but sometimes I do. I might use a paper towel to gently soften certain passages in the painting. It's not that often that I'll do that because with the problem with that is it's all right if you go down with that paper towel and pap it once, but the second you pick it up and pap it again, a lot of times you can move light things in the dark areas and dark things in the light areas. So you have to be a bit strategic, but it is important to not have every part of your painting extremely sharp and detailed. Well, this is something I kind of knew intuitively, but the guy that really educated me on that was good old Richard Schmid. Now, Richard Schmid is a genius. He's an amazing painter. If you don't know who he is, just put his name in. There's unfortunately not a lot on YouTube of him painting. I think he's passed on now, but he had a book called Alla Prima, Everything I Know About Painting, and then he did a second edition, which I didn't get because it was pretty pricey. But it's a good book, and he's a really smart guy and a really brilliant painter. And what's brilliant about what he does is that he's you can always tell what it is he's painting, but he's quite good at the abstraction, building up the abstract elements to create the representational picture. And one thing, getting to my point, one thing I picked up from him, so you're using the knife, you're using the brush, you're putting things down, you can end up with a lot of really sharp and defined edges. And he would go in and smooth the aspects down. There's a lot of different techniques you can use for that smoothing. Like I pointed out a minute ago, you can use a paper towel. That's got some issues. But one of the things that works really well is you take a brush that you already have used to paint and make sure it's thoroughly wiped off. You can use that to do a little bit of smoothing. Now, the problem with that, especially if you're a painter starting out, you don't have a lot of experience. A lot of times, what will happen is you won't know when to stop, so you can end up over smoothing things. And oh, what's this? The book? We'll get back into this smoothing thing in a minute. The book contains about 10, 12, 13 years of condensed painting knowledge about painting in a tonal manner. I taught myself how to do this. I did have some help. Stapleton Kearns, his blog did help me a bit, and a book by Burge Harrison sort of helped me. Yeah, but mostly I figured out how to get into this tonal mode, as opposed to, say, an impressionist mode, right? Now, there's definitely similarities between impressionism and tonalism, and mostly that's looseness of brush handling, things like that. Color approach is very different, and that's why I, had to teach myself. And we've been doing it on this channel for a while, so check it out. All right, we put the sky in first. Let's talk about what my actual brief was on this painting. This painting first of all, why am I doing a 12 by 16? Well, I've been very enamored with the proportion of 6 by 8. I've been doing a lot of, and I think 6 by 8 is quite remarkable. It works well as a horizontal. This is a horizontal. It's a slightly squarish. More accurate to say it's not super panoramic. It's not totally squarish, but a little bit squarish, but not as squarish as, say, an 8 by 10. Okay, an 8 by 10 is going to seem a lot more squared, and really a challenge to get these 8 by 10s in a horizontal format looking good. It can be done. I have done it, but I failed more often than not. So anyway, I am enamored with 6 by 8 as a proportion, and obviously if you double it both ways, you get 12 by 16. Now, 12 by 16 is a size I hadn't really painted in since I had that museum show in like 2015 or so. There was quite a few 12 by 16s in that show. For some reason, I thought 12 by 18 would be better. 12 by 18 is the golden mean proportion. A lot of times I'll work with that as a 8 by 12 or 4 by 6, right? But in the larger boards, it just seems to have extra. It's not quite panoramic, but it has extra horizontal width. So I wasn't using. I have had some 12 by 18 boards prepped for a long time. It's just I don't really like this. So I cut them down to 12 by 16, and we're painting on one of those right now. And I think it went real well. Real happy with it. And so part of my brief, though, was that I did not want this painting to take 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7, 8 hours, and I certainly can. You can see that in the members area. Usually that would be more the case with, say, a large size study after like a Georgia nest, but all that's in the members area. You can see all that stuff there. 7, 8 hour long. Well, it's not all one session. It would be over days, but here I wasn't rushing, but I was determined to get it done, and I got this whole painting done in a quite expedient manner. And what's in my mind is, do I leave it alone, or do I come in for that second pass? And the fact that I'm sharing with you now is indicative that I decided to just leave it alone. Yes, there were some things that I could probably go in and do, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it fresh, because that is usually it's best. I just learned that one the hard way. Now there might be the only time I really will go in now is if there's something really egregious that I missed in that initial color painting session. Now there are times where I don't have maybe the time in a day to do the full painting. I might do the sky one day and then the ground the other, but generally speaking, one of the issues that I'd run into when I scale up, and I'm sure you probably do too, it's pretty common, is it's bigger, so you've got a larger area to fill, and you can see your reference very clearly, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to cram some more details in there. Now, this reference was quite challenging. I put in fact, you can see that bit of tree I'm painting there right now. I put a fairly strong lighting on one side. And you could go, well, where's the light coming from, Mac? It looks like it's coming from behind the tree. Well, yeah, you got room for all kinds of effects in the sky. We just could have some clouds being hit with light with darker clouds in front. And that's basically how I handled it. Just a good tip for you if you're dealing with these twilight sorts of scenes. You don't want to get real intense with strong lighting on one side and dark lighting on the other. Although I kind of pushed it pretty far in that one tree, but you definitely want to pick a side. Don't try and so in this reference you had lots of patches of dark that weren't that congruent. And really what you want to do is link up your dark patches as much as possible. And this is a real problem with a lot of reference images. You'll see bit of dark, bit of dark, but things aren't coming together and coalescing into real shapes or patterns. And in a case like that, it's incumbent on you to make sure that does happen, that you're pulling the darks together into you're linking them up. Which is what I did here. Now, a lot of times, I will be honest with you, I don't really know. I'm looking at it and going, well, how am I going to link this up? I mean, it's just patch of dark. But what I'll do is I'll just start slapping some dark down. And that's one of the things I like to really sort of start solving that problem at the underpainting stage. But it's just yet another way where you don't want to cleave to the reference exactly. Now, if you're gonna say you've got you don't have distinct dark areas, you just have patches of dark scattered throughout your reference image, I've already told you need to link those up. But say you've decided, oh, I'm not going to link them up, I'm going to do it, I'm going to handle this the same way that it is in the reference image. In a case like that, what happens is that you are going to be a slave to the form and details of the reference image. You will be spending a lot more time. And not that there's anything wrong with spending a lot of time on a painting. Intrinsically, there's nothing wrong. But just speaking for me personally, I talked about this, I think, on the last video I just put up here where I was talking about, oh no, it was the video before that, which did really well. I don't know, struck some sort of chord with you folks. 500 of you decided to watch it, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to strike a chord with you, and I honestly don't mind. You can watch or not, and I appreciate you coming and watching. Don't think I don't, but I can't let that be the determining factor. I think a lot of people on the YouTubes, they go wrong that way. It's like, oh, that did really well, I'm going to do more of that. It's like, yeah, well, is that really in line with your artistic vision? Really? Or are you just chasing likes, chasing popularities? And as I told someone the other day, you might keep this in mind too, because it's very natural, it's very human to want to be acknowledged for your efforts that you're making in this reality. That's natural, but you need to keep it reined in. You need to keep it in check. Because honestly, what's the difference between one or two people digging what you do and 1 million people? Is 1 million enough? Do you need 2 million? 3, 4, 5? Where does it end? It doesn't. So it's, in fact, for my part, I definitely do love that bit of acknowledgement. And please leave me a comment if you feel so inclined. But maybe you've noticed I'm not asking for a lot of comments and stuff, Comment if you want, and if you don't comment, well, a lot of you don't comment, and then you buy the book, or you join the members area, or you do whatever you want to do. It's your life. It's your journey. It's your painting journey. And hopefully I'm somewhat useful, laying some tips and advice on you. But ultimately it's you that has to work it all out. Me telling you something, yeah, well, maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it will down the road. I don't know. But I hope it does help. And I really appreciate you coming around. And I'm real stoked with the way this painting turned out. And no, I'm not putting it back on the easel. What were the things? We've got 1 minute here, or half a minute. I might have adjusted those tree holes in very slight ways. Also, there's a little bit of cloud there I might have softened. And it doesn't need to happen. I was okay with it when I decided I was done. The risk that you'll run if you put it back on the easel is that not only will you fix those things, you'll start messing with other stuff. Anyway, until I come back with another video for your edification, hopefully for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor, do me a solid, take good care of yourself, your family, all of your loved ones, stay out of trouble. God bless you and your family, and if you can, please fight the power.